This week in Jamaica Now, police release list of 88 wanted men they say have been fueling crime across Jamaica. Hunt on for Manchester man who allegedly fired on Cross Keys police as he reported as part of his bail. Opposition leader says the police commissioner should halt the runaway murder rate in 60 days or resign.
Jamaica cannot go on like this.
What the National Security Minister has to say.
We are giving him the support and I'm confident we'll get the job done.
Big gun bust. High-powered rifles among 10 weapons found buried at the National Stadium East. Then, banking fees backlash. The Prime Minister and the Finance Minister turning up the pressure on financial institutions over increasing user fees.
It would seem as if our commercial banks are tone deaf.
One MP says it's time to enact the long-delayed banking laws. Controversy stewing over proposal to cut import duties on chicken parts. Heat on Dayton Campbell over racial comment. And Carey Robinson, the voice of Hill and Gully Ride, has died at 98. I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. The police are turning the spotlight on wanted men they believe are contributing to the current upsurge in murders. On Thursday, Fitz Bailey, the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime and security, said at present there were some 200 wanted men. But the police have listed 88 they want to find now. The police division of Hanover has topped the list with 13 of the 88 wanted men. Hanover has been seeing spiraling murders and shootings in recent years. DCP Bailey is appealing for public support to arrest the men. And the hunt is on for a Manchester man who allegedly fired at the police on Tuesday while he reported at the Cross Keys police station as part of his bail condition. Orlando Lee, who is from Blenheim District near Newport, allegedly pulled a firearm from his waistband and fired inside the station as cops tried to accost him. The police say they noticed a bulge at his waist and were approaching him when he opened fire. Lee, who is 25, was reporting to the police while on bail in a case of illegal possession of a firearm. He is urged to immediately surrender to the police. Anyone with any information on the whereabouts of Orlando Lee is asked to contact Crime Stop at 311, the 119 police emergency number, the Mandeville Police at 961-5538, or the nearest police station. Meanwhile, opposition leader Mark Golding has called for Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson to resign if he does not get murders under control within the next 60 days. Jamaica has seen a 19% increase in murders over the first 3 weeks of 2022, with 112 people being killed in 23 days. The opposition leader has also described the tenure of National Security Minister Dr Horace Chang as a failure, arguing that this has left many Jamaicans feeling frightened, hopeless, and in despair.
Jamaica cannot go on like this. There must be accountability for such poor performance in the critical area of our national security.
But the National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, has dismissed Golding's position.
I'm the politician. Yes. And there are politicians and choose, right? The commissioner is not a political office, and I find it very disturbing that the oppositions would have drawn the commissioner into what essentially was from a political platform. This country neglected the police force for 50 years. Neglect. The police stations were run down. They had no transportation, they had no communication. The way we pay them would have insulted the profession.
And the police this week recorded a major haul of illegal guns and ammunition. Over 4 days, 10 weapons, including 2 AK-47s, were found buried at the National Stadium East Field. Magazines and ammunition were also found in what the police say was an intelligence-led operation. The government is turning up the pressure on commercial banks, saying increased user fees will cause greater stress for Jamaicans. Both the National Commercial Bank and Scotiabank have been facing intense public criticism over the new fees. Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Finance Minister Dr Nigel Clark have denounced the new adjustments.
It would seem as if our commercial banks are tone deaf. The banks have introduced a fee of $25 in one instance and $30.85 in another instance to withdraw your money from an ATM that they have put in place. And if you use another bank to withdraw your money, it's $60. Before this round of increases, it was free.
I repeat, this great potential economy that we have exists in a social context.
But opposition MP Fitz Jackson, who has been agitating for legislative action against banks, maintains that there must be new laws to protect consumers.
I won't be surprised if tomorrow morning we hear an announcement that these recent increases are suspended, all in an effort to appease the public, appear to be doing something while the status quo remains in place. As my mother would say, such actions are most heart-wrenching. We expect more and better from those elected to protect the majority of Jamaicans.
NCB has since announced that it will remove the fee to encash checks of $15,000 or less. It also said it will offer new accounts which will not incur charges, including at its own point of sale or ATMs. Controversy is stewing in the poultry sector over a proposal to cut the import tariff on chicken parts to make it cheaper for consumers. It follows news that chicken prices will be going up by 10% come the end of January. The Jamaica Agricultural Society, the JAS, says the proposed suspension of the common external tariff and stamp duties would be a bad idea. Agriculture Minister Pernell Charles Jr., speaking in Parliament on Tuesday, said the temporary freezing of the tariff would slash the price of leg quarters by more than half, from $360 a pound to $160 a pound.
Madam Speaker, leg quarters are really available at more competitive prices than other chicken parts currently being utilized. But let me emphasize, Minister Clark, that this would be a temporary measure until local market recalibrates to normal levels where supply matches demand, as was successfully done before when the country faced a similar crisis.
Political Ombudsman Donna Parchment Brown has held talks with People's National Party PNP General Secretary Dr Dayton Campbell over this controversial comment he made about Jamaica Labour Party Chairman Robert Montague.
So like Bobby Montague is the leader of the black section of the Labour Party. Does he really want to trouble him?
According to Parchment Brown, while there has not been a formal complaint against Campbell, she has started to gather more information amid public outrage. Parchment Brown said the findings of her probe would determine whether there was a breach of the political code of conduct. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page. Subscribe today and turn on your notifications. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, remembering Carey Robinson, the voice of Hill and Gully Ride, who has died at 98.
I always loved the history. I don't know how it started out, but I remember sitting behind my grandfather, for instance, on the floor, going through his old books of knowledge and reading Life magazine and Look magazine, and history was always big for me. Yeah. Very early I was into history because I wanted to know more about Jamaica. And the thing is that at Calabar, we were not taught Jamaican history at all. We knew nothing about this country. We knew a lot about the British Empire, some really exciting things about India and Canada and America and stuff like that. Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Absolutely nothing. So that became my quest later on to try to find out what I was all about as a Jamaican, what Jamaica was all about.